Hello everyone, Jules here. After the last JRPGs of all time videos, which is the part 3 of the series, now it's time for us to go to the final chapter of my JRPGs of all time in 2024. Knowing that this is based on my personal experience, I know we are going to have some differences in terms of game choices or placements, and that is why I recommend you to watch this series more like a JRPG references rather than focusing on the ranking itself. Before we dive into the final chapter of this JRPG series, I want to introduce you to the best platform for buying games in this modern era, and it's called Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is the perfect place for you to shop in games these days. Your transactions are legit, fast, and their supports are ready 24/7, so you don't need to worry about anything. But trust me, that's not even the best part. They have lots of games for your favorite platforms, and they have the best deals as well. If only I knew this place from the start, I probably already have a good amount of money to buy a console or even more games. So what are you waiting for? All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platforms. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Tactics Ogre Reborn is a game that delivers a deep and complex strategy RPG experience with a strong emphasis on unit abilities, terrain, and the unpredictability of battle. In this game, units have a specific number of tiles they can move, influenced by their movement stats, and they can perform various actions such as standard attacks, casting spells, using items, or even attempting to recruit enemy units. Customization also plays a crucial role, as characters can equip up to 4 active abilities tailored to their class, along with passive skills that provide either constant or random benefits. Chrono Cross is a JRPG that brings one of the most unique and enjoyable battle systems in the classic JRPGs. In this game, you can actively choose when to engage in combat, helping you to focus on the story and exploration without the constant interruptions that often drag down the pacing in other JRPGs. But what really makes the game stand out is how fun the battles are. The combat system integrates stamina points, a field effect mechanic, and an elemental grid that combine to create something fresh and tactical. Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age is a game that blends real-time action with a traditional RPG feel in its combat. The battles take place directly on the map, eliminating random encounters and separate battle screens. And although you control only one character at a time, the rest of your party is managed by the game's AI using the Gambit system. Gambits allow you to set up automated commands for your party members, essentially programming their reactions in specific situations. This system lets you focus more on the bigger picture, such as positioning your characters to avoid damage or maximizing the effects of area of effect attacks. Yakuza 0 is an RPG that focuses on the origin stories of 2 of the series' central figures, Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima. But unlike Yakuza 5's sprawling and complex narrative, this installment hones in on Kiryu and Majima's personal struggles. Combat is a core part of the Yakuza experience, and Yakuza 0 doesn't disappoint. Kiryu and Majima each have 3 fighting styles, which can be switched mid-battle to adapt to different situations. The combat feels satisfying with the flashy, brutal finishing moves that allow you to literally stomp enemies into submission. Chrono Trigger is a JRPG that lets you jump between different eras, from the dawn of humanity to a post-apocalyptic future, with choices made in the past having real effects on the future. This wasn't just a gimmick, it gave the game a sense of scale that was unheard of at the time. You were not just exploring one world, you were exploring the entire lifespan of that world. Another standout feature was the battle system. Instead of cutting away to a separate battlefield screen like most RPGs, fights happen right where you encounter enemies, which keeps you immersed while in combat. Octopath Traveler 2 is a game that follows the core mechanics of traditional turn-based JRPGs but offers a unique approach to story and progression. Instead of following a linear path, you begin by choosing one of 8 characters, each with their own backstory, goals, and personal journey. This character becomes your main focus, but you are free to explore the world at your own pace. Moreover, each story has its own vibe, some lighter, some darker, but they all come together in the end to form a surprisingly cohesive narrative. The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie continues the series' tradition of offering a deeply intricate turn-based battle system and of course amazing narratives. Similar to Cold Steel series, you can deploy up to 4 party members at a time, with the flexibilities to switch characters in and out or call upon those on the sidelines for support. The difference is that you have crazy amount of characters that you can play here, and that is also including new quartz and accessories that are far stronger than in the previous titles.
Crimson Flash!
It's my turn!
Fire Emblem Path of Radiance is an RPG that follows the same intense turn-based tactical gameplay that fans of the series are used to, but with enough new features and challenges to keep it fresh. Each chapter in this game is a self-contained battle that you need to complete in order to move forward in the story. The stakes are also high, because characters can be permanently lost if they die in combat. This system of permadeath is a hallmark of the Fire Emblem series, and it's just as compelling here as in the previous titles.
Sumaba.
Troubleshooter Abandoned Children is a title that presents a gritty near-future world where crime is rampant in the mega-city of Valhalla. You take on the role of Albus, a young man who forms his own troubleshooter company to help control the chaos. In this game, the core loop involves downtime at your base where your team can resupply before heading out on tactical missions. These missions take place in a 3D environment with a lot of verticality and strategic options. Early on, missions are straightforward, but they gradually become more varied as she progresses. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is an enhanced edition that retains the core gameplay of the original while introducing the several key quality of life improvements that make a noticeable difference. For example, the addition of visible health bars for characters is a much needed and welcome feature, and the revamped map UI provides clearer waypoints, eliminating the confusion caused by previous vague arrows. Quest items are also now easier to spot, marked by helpful exclamation points instead of forcing you to sift through these scattered glowing blue orbs. Overall, these changes modernize the experience without compromising the heart of the game. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance keeps the series' hallmark unforgiving combat at the forefront, and at times it feels even more brutal than before. In this game, you are still focusing on finding and exploiting your enemy's elemental weaknesses and building a roster of demons that can take advantage of those weaknesses. Demon negotiation and fusion are gonna be your main jam, and this game really shines in how it allows you to build your own demon army. The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky SC is the second game in the Trails in the Sky series. The game moves at an incredibly slow pace, especially in the first half. However, the depth of the storytelling, the meticulous care given to every character, factions, and location pays off in the long run. Even the smallest details like the return of minor NPCs or subtle subplots contribute to the game's sense of immersion. That being said, of course you have to play the FC game first, unless you want to miss a lot of key narratives. Suikoden 2 builds on the solid foundation of its predecessor. The battle system remains turn-based, and not only you can still equip runes for special abilities and create powerful chain combos, now there's also the auto mode for those tedious random battles. The game also introduces more varied and complex strategy segments compared to the first game. And if you've been wondering about it, there are still the epic one-on-one battles to enjoy, which adds to the overall variety that sets it apart from many other RPGs. Xenogears is a JRPG that offers an authentic experience, especially in the story and world design. The game boasts animated cutscenes, a rich score, and an anime-inspired tech-punk visual style that draws you in right from the start. At its core, the combat uses an active time battle system similar to Final Fantasy. Players navigate a menu with options for defense, item use, escape, and ether. Different characters have their own styles of ether abilities, which adds a layer of personality to each character's powers. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure is a sequel that happens after the events from Trails from Zero. The combat system mostly remains unchanged, featuring turn-based, grid-based battles where your team can perform standard melee attacks, arts, crafts, and powerful S-crafts and combo crafts. With that in mind, a new addition in this game is the Master Quartz system, which levels up slowly alongside your characters. There's also Burst Gauge mechanic that fills up during certain battles and provides buffs when used. This feature is very useful during tough fights, but is available only in specific encounters.
Don't get careless!
Persona 4 Golden is a JRPG that blends high school drama with dungeon crawling action. There are over 150 personas to collect, each requiring careful fusion to create new and more powerful ones. Managing these personas involves a fair amount of strategy, as you need to consider fusion forecasts, social links, and the efficient use of after-school time. The game's complexity can also be overwhelming, but is also part of what makes it so compelling. Even if the game doesn't spell out every detail, it's approachable enough that you will eventually get the hang of its system. Trails of Cold Steel 2 expands on its predecessor by making exploration a more significant part of the game. While the series has traditionally been quite linear, this sequel allows for more freedom and larger environments to explore. In terms of difficulty, I will say there is a significant increase, although there are more builds that can make the game too easy. In this game, you begin at level 40, with many advanced techniques and abilities from the original game intact. As such, this progression is another reason why playing the first game before jumping into this one is advisable.
They paid the price for underestimating us.
Persona 5 Royal elevates an already outstanding game to new heights by refining and expanding nearly every aspect of the original Persona 5. One of the most notable improvements is the overhaul of the combat system. Atlas has rebalanced abilities and enemies and reimagined the role of guns in your arsenal. While in the original you had to manage limited ammo for each infiltration, here bullets refresh after each battle. This change makes guns a more versatile and integral part of your strategy. As a result, early battles feel more dynamic and the role of guns becomes more reliable and central to your tactics.
Damn!
Nier Automata is easily one of the best games of all time, let alone in JRPGs. The game's narrative branches out in various directions, exploring complex themes such as high-level conspiracies and even the fundamental question of what it means to be human. In terms of gameplay, Nier Automata excels in both quality and polish. The controls are precise, and the hack-and-slash mechanics are both deep and accessible. Nier Automata is also brimming with things to discover. It offers an extensive array of unlockable elements that you can actively engage with in the game, including weapons, companion characters, and many more. Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions is a significant upgrade to the original, enhancing the classic tactical RPG with improved visuals, additional content, and updated features. The core gameplay remains faithful to the original, with players managing a roster of up to 24 characters and engaging in both plot-specific and random battles. The addition of 2 new job classes also introduces fresh strategic elements. This addition completely opens up more possibilities, providing endless of build variations and party compositions. Fire Emblem Three Houses is a strategy RPG that drops you into a world of political intrigue and strategic warfare. The combat in this game retains the classic turn-based tactics that define the series, though it introduces several notable changes. For example, the traditional weapon triangle is less emphasized in favor of combat arts. These are special moves tied to weapon types that can boost your attack power at the cost of weapon durability. And while the basic concept of weapon advantages remains, combat arts streamline the complexity, making strategic planning more accessible without losing depth. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a game that continues the series' tradition of delivering massive immersive worlds with epic stories, but it comes with its share of triumphs and tribulations. For those familiar with the series, the callbacks and connections serve as a gratifying payoff for following the saga from the beginning. And in terms of gameplay, this game excels with its refined combat system, improved quest design, and engaging RPG mechanics. The enhancements to combat also make battles more dynamic and enjoyable, while the expanded quest options and sandbox elements offer a deeper and more satisfying gameplay loop.
I'm waiting, Cloud.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth builds on the fantastic foundation set by Final Fantasy VII Remake, elevating it into something truly remarkable. As a continuation of the beloved classic, it both honors and reinvents the original in thrilling and deeply reflective ways. The game not only extends the narrative but also enriches it with a wealth of minigames, side quests, and other engaging diversions, all set within expansive, beautifully reimagined regions. It also excels at bringing familiar locations to life with a new vibrancy and detail, enhancing both immersion and nostalgia. Persona 3 Reload is a remake that revitalizes the core mechanics of the original while also addressing some of its repetitive elements. At its heart, the game retains the beloved turn-based RPG combat that fans know and love, focusing on elemental affinities, extra turns, and thrilling all-out attacks. The combat also maintains a dynamic pace that complements its stylized visuals, ensuring battles never feel stale. Additionally, the game's rhythm also helps prevent the repetitive grind often associated with turn-based RPGs. The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak is a JRPG that introduces a notable evolution in its battle system by merging real-time and turn-based elements into a hybrid format. The combat begins in real time, allowing players to engage enemies directly with basic attacks or charge moves that can stun foes and break their shields. While the combat is revolutionary, for me, the best improvements is the storytelling. Character interactions are much more polished, better pacing, and they don't hold back on picturing the dark side of the series, which is great because Cold Steel 3 and 4 are playing a bit too safe in my opinion. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other great JRPGs that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your best JRPGs that probably deserve the spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another grad list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!